I'm Tom, and today we're taking a look at Yes. Yes. With a whole bunch of S's. It is a game in which you are trying to give clues to other people to guess words, and if they guess the words, do you say yes? I don't actually know why the game is called Yes. Does it say on the back why it's called Yes?
No.
No. Why is it called Yes? Anyway, it's a clue-giving game. It's similar to code names a little bit. We're using pictures. You ready to look at it?
I am.
The game comes with a whole pile of double-sided cards that show various, very common objects. Octopus, squid, doll, letter, etc. And you're going to make 7 piles of these here in the middle of the table. Each pile is going to have a number. The number of cards in each pile is determined by number of players. There's going to be a whole pile of these tiles here, and each player is going to draw 3 of these tiles and look at them. So here I have 6 and 7, 3 and 4, and 1 and 4. I'm going to pick one of these and give it to the player on my left, determined by this token, which is going to flip every round. So I might give I'm going to give them 1 and 4. All right, so we're going to look at all the different things here. Everyone's going to get one. So I've given the person to my left one of these tokens, so they know that it's 1 and 4, and I know that it's 1 and 4. Once everyone has gotten the tokens, the rest of the tokens are discarded without anyone seeing what they are. And then you kind of just have open play. And once you think you know a one-word clue that puts your 2 together. So for example here, I might say with the bed and the castle, I might say Cinderella. I would like to say, something like the Princess and the Pea, but that's more than one word. So say Cinderella, and then people are going to try to guess which one is Cinderella. Everyone's going to guess except for me and the person who gave me the clue. Now everyone's going to guess using these boards numbered 1 through 7, although on the other side there's a scrambling of numbers, and everyone will say like 1, 2, 3, go, and you point to the 2 numbers that it is. So the reason they're scrambled, I guess, is so people can't watch where your fingers are going to go. But anyhow, once you put them down, for each person who gets it correct gets a point. Each person who doesn't get it correct doesn't get anything. For each person who gets it correct, I get a point. For each person who doesn't get it correct, the person who gave me the clue gets a point. Therefore, if I get a clue and I think it's too difficult to do, which it might be, I can give it back to that person, and they give the clue, and then I'll get the points for people who get it wrong, and they get the points for people who get it correctly. So let's say, for example, here's my clue, and I'm going to say, let's see here. This is a hard clue to give. Wow, I don't know that I could even do this one. So I'm going to say Christmas. Okay, and you say, what? What is Christmas? And so think about it, and then the answer would be the tree and the drum, the drummer boy. Now, actually, maybe that wasn't so hard after all, but what if I had the drum and the mountain? How do you combine those? And you might think of a clue or whatever, but you're hoping other people get it. So the object is giving these clues to different people and trying to give them a hard clue, but you might not want it to be too hard because it comes back. So people are going to give these clues in any order they want, and after everyone has done once someone's given a clue, like let's say 1 and 4, then I know 1 and 4 is no longer a viable option because there's only one of each combo of tiles. And then after that's done, you will discard the top card on each pile, and you will start another round. And then you keep going till all the cards are gone. Points are given out with these little brain tokens that are in denominations of 1, 5, and 10. And whoever has the most points after a certain number of rounds is the winner. You can also play a cooperative style game where you're working together to give clues. You're trying to get as many pairs in a certain amount of time in 3 minutes. And you're going to be setting up the board a little bit like this. It shows in the rules. But the game is best played as this competitive game. All right, so first of all, what do you think of like the pictures in the game, the cards and the brains for points and things like that?
I like that. I like the different pictures and stuff. There were some that I had to look at closer to see what they actually are, like the scale thingy. A lot of people didn't know what that was at first.
I'm telling you, people should know what a scale is, but I thought the pictures were really well done. They're very clear. They're not like, what could that picture be? You know, some games like Dixit or Codenames Pictures, the stuff in it is weird. Ooh, look at this weird thing.
Especially Dixit.
Right, and here they're not. This is a Christmas tree. This is a bat. You know, it's pretty clear what they are. But when you talk about the picture, you might be referring to something about that picture.
Like an I is for sight or something.
Right. Although it's hilarious, the rule book says you can't reference the numbers. And the clue that they give is you can't use 4 and 6 and say as your clue, what was it?
Oklahoma.
Colorado or Oklahoma was the 46th state or something like that. And it was like, who would have?
Who would know that?
I guess maybe if it was 27 and you say, anyway, you can't reference the numbers. Big deal. And you can't say color clues. But other than that, you can give any clue you want. And I find that very interesting. Sometimes it's really easy and really obvious. But usually you don't get to give the obvious clues because the person giving you doesn't want to give you one that's that easy. What do you think about giving the clue back?
I thought that was fun. Like, you would have to think of a hard one for the other person, but at the same time, like, if they decide to turn it back on you, at least, like, you should be able to think of a clue for it.
Right. Whenever I gave a clue to somebody else, I already had my clue prepared. Yeah, if I can't think of a clue for it, I wasn't sure I want to give it to them. And then sometimes I give someone a clue I thought was really hard, and they're like, boom, and they thought of a really good clue, and I'm like, oh, that never even occurred to me. I just gave you an easy points.
Yeah.
The point systems, the brains, that work okay?
Yeah, I thought it distributed evenly to other people.
Right, and this is a game that is up to 7 players, which is cool. I like that. I like that a lot of people can play this game. It's interesting to have the numbers in order, then you can flip it over. But if you're watching where other people are pointing their fingers anyway, you really shouldn't be playing party games, or you really shouldn't be playing games at all, honestly. So the whole game itself is this whole try to give people clues. What do you think about the free form? Anyone can say a clue at any time.
I thought that was, I actually like that because you could have more time to think about what you're going to be. But at the same time, you could do it faster to get it like out of the way. But also at the same time, like what you said before, it makes it easier for other people to kind of like guess what the numbers are. For me, it really wasn't, because after a while, you just forget which clue was which. But
that's true, and even in a full game, you're only taking out 4 combinations out of 23 or however many there are. It's kind of intriguing because you have to get both right. You don't get any points for, oh, I got one of the 2 right. Well, no, too bad. But that free-form nature, I think, really works for me because the people who know their clues right away can go, and people who are like, oh, I don't know yet, they have time to think.
Yeah, you don't have to wait for them on their turn.
Right, because if we go around to people on their turn, it's like, oh, it's my turn. But instead, you can sit there and think, and sometimes even the clues other people give will make you think, oh, that's a good idea. I can use that kind of clue in my answer. This is the kind of game that you don't really, you keep track of the points, but you can play a certain number of rounds, or you just keep playing until you decide to stop. I like that. It works, and it's easy to, you can jump in the middle of a game.
Yeah.
You can jump out. I wish there were more cards in the box. I would put double the number of cards. They're double-sided, and the combinations are fine, and maybe we'll see more of them down the road. But for now, I was pretty impressed with this. What would you rate it?
Probably like a 7.5.
Yeah, I'll give it a 7.5 myself. It's a solid party game that's simple and easy. A name that's kind of annoying, yes. That's different than
like
the game.
A snake.
Yes. But it's easy. It's fun to teach. It's one I could see being sold at big box stores. It has some similarities to Codenames, a very popular game, but it also feels different. And there are some
2 different number parts.
Yeah, well, in Codenames, you're trying to get people to guess multiple things at the same time. But here, this feels less cerebral. This feels more of a fun, silly party game, while Codenames is more cerebral in that regard. We'll see. Anyway, thumbs up from us. I'm Tom Vassell.
And I'm Melody.
And this has been Double Trouble.
Boom.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.